who this is. He's back. G1's in the chat. G1's in the chat. For CAIOTG1. We'll see how he can do against arguably a more difficult opponent. Oh no, I resized the score by accident. This is going to be rough. Oh no. What have I done? That pixel is going to be completely off. Let me just try and fix that real quick. Wait, I think I nailed it first try. I did. I nailed it. I'm incredible. Alright, we'll minimize that. G1's in the chat for Caio. Oh no, he's beamed it! G1's for Sebadam. Is he playing console? Yeah, we just saw Caio took down Turbo. And he's back. And he's gonna try and take down Sebadam. Yeah, so these guys both proven players on this stream. You know, just beating Turbo alone is a good enough result to validate Caio. He took down Turbo in a best of 5, 3-2. But this is going to be a tough one. Oh, Sebadam with the mind games. Look at that delayed dodge. Sebadam, of course, coming off a very, very impressive victory recently against Alex161. Actually getting a bit of a double touch on that one is Sebadam. He missed on the... Like, he didn't get as much of a flick on the first flick that he wanted. But the follow-through did take it past Caio, and he managed to get it enough to the side to take it away from the Brazilian. England versus Brazil here, but of course England have a much better chance in this matchup than they would in football, because you'd say Brazil would be the favourites almost 10 times out of 10 in football, but this is going to be England as favourites, although Sebadam gets completely blasted into his own half. Caio's follow through, of course, something you want to watch out for. He does go for quite a lot of bumps onto opponents, and there's a pretty good example of why air roll shooting is so effective. Sebadam air rolling left, dodging forward. That way he can just reach around the ball, barely creep it inside. Very impressive stuff from Sebadam. He's off to a great start here. Didn't actually look at the ping. This is actually a really good ping for Sebadam on a US East server. Very, very good server for him. And he's utilizing that to the best possible start. 4-0. Sebadam is definitely not messing around here. Caio way off center on that face-off. Sebadam is English? Yeah, Sebadam's English. His accent doesn't sound English because he has Russian parents, I believe. Oh, it's Caio with an aerial shot of his own. Nearly squeezes it in. Unfortunately for him, he couldn't get the recovery and the rebound. And he's rushed in to try and get a second hit on this one. Sebadam just shuts it down immediately. Caio maybe being a little bit over-aggressive here because he is down by 4. He's trying to get a goal back, and Sebadam punishes him. Easy interception. I left it on EU. No, this is US East. If you look up in the top left, it says USE 7 Dominus. That's how you know what server you're in after the fact of joining. It says USE. Oh no, Caio's missed on an open net. He could have just ran that in, but he slowed it down, went for the ball carry instead of the ball push. Of course, pushing the ball in front of you is faster than carrying it. In fact, the absolute fastest way to move the ball is just to carry it on the very, very front of your nose. But it's difficult to do without slowing the ball down marginally by putting it too much on the top of your car. Look at Sebadam's power sliding so fast to turn and face the ball, get the solid 50-50. Now Caio should have a goal, but oh no, he's missed another open net. Definitely a shaky start here for Caio in a best of 5, but there you go, he's done it again so many times in the series against Turbopulsa. He comes in, pokes the ball, and gets a bump. I've seen him do this so many times now. I'm starting to think that it's just part of his game plan. Look at that, just beating Sebadam away from the play. Unbelievable consistency on Caio's bumps after challenges. I don't know how he does it. Sebadam's still comfortably in the lead. A long time left in the game. Caio just needs to get settled down. Needs to try and stop conceding goals, and if he can do that, maybe then he can think about the comeback. But Sebadam's challenges are so good. This time he's missed an open net because the ball bounced out awkwardly out further than he expected, and he's missed another one. That's the aerial shot going astray. Caio just trying to find some space here to get some boost, but Sebadam does not want to let that happen. Looks like Caio's got the space that he wanted. Waiting for the bounce. He saw Sebadam retreating. He's going to blast it at the backboard. Sebadam is flying and he won't get the connection. There you go. Backboard play. Draws out the misplay. I wonder why Sebadam didn't just drive up the wall here. Oh yeah, he could have definitely driven up the wall and reached that. It would have been a bit awkward, but he would have made it. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure he would have made it. Getting up the wall is, of course, faster Kaio with a half flip to make it back to his net in time. He's in an awkward position though, completely out of boost. And he centered it for Sebadam. Sebadam surely will get a goal. No, the bump. Again, Kaio getting a bump. Look at that. Sebadam even stealing this small boost. Kaio's left with nothing. And there's a wicked throw. Sebadam rattles the crossbar. Now Kaio finally has the boost that he needs. So he seems to have stabilized in this game, but he needs to now transition into offense. Rips a shot right over Sebadam. Beautiful job. Spots the Englishman off his line, and now we've got a game in our hands. 2 goals of difference. Oh, he spotted Sebadam just faking a challenge or turning. Ripped it. Absolute boomer from the halfway line by Kaio. Get some G1s in the chat. It's got to be, if this guy ever streams, he'll have to make a G1 emote. CAIOTG1. I don't know what TG1 stands for. No idea. But, there you go. CAIOTG1, he's on the offense again. Sebadam just challenging with a half flip. Clean hit on the ball and chases Kaio away from the boost. Kaio missed the boost here, and he's accidentally own goaled it from a phenomenal angle. That's one of the best own goals I've ever seen here. Oh no, he missed the boost marginally, and then he accidentally hits the ball perfectly into his own net. What? What an own goal. TG1 equals the great one. Oh, Kaio the great one. Interesting. I didn't know that TG1 meant the great one, but that's pretty cool. Sebadam with a pinch challenge. Didn't even need boost. He's trying to go for a little bit of a bump on Kaio, and then realizes it ain't gonna work. Just goes for a regular challenge. Sebadam is one of the best players at just doing this in 1v1. Oh my goodness, what a play by Kaio. Actually getting the ball past Sebadam with a reverse aerial. Unfortunately for him, it just won't sit up nicely in front of the goal. And he's decided that that was the one of a necessary 3 goals that he was going to have to get in order to come back in this game. Oh, I've just realized that there's an advert on the wall. Oh wait. What am I doing? This is what I'm trying to do. So the names of the Season 2 players are gone. We're now registering for the prize pool. Another fake kickoff by Sebadam does get possession. Oh my goodness, the power that he's able to get with such little speed on his car. Just phenomenal use of the hitbox of the Octane there by Sebadam. It's absolutely blasting ground shots. I remember the first time I casted Sebadam on stream, he was not getting the power on some of his shots that he was looking for. He was kind of flipping away from the ball, but he's absolutely nailed a couple now, and that's a really well done. Just starts an air dribble, uses his dodge to accelerate the ball. Look at that. Just leaning back just enough to get properly underneath the ball, lifts it over Kaio. The game was pretty much over by that point anyway. But one more goal to pad the stats for Sebadam. He might look for another. As Kaio has not been able to pick up a big boost. Now he has. And the fake by Sebadam. He's perfectly underneath Kaio. The mind game. I'm actually a little bit curious as to why Sebadam showed his hand here so early. I'm sure that he could have saved this for later. Because if you've already won the game, and you know you're going to be playing more games after, it might make sense to save that fake for later. Because now Kaio's thinking about that, and Sebadam's going to have to adapt one time more. Probably. I mean, it's just something to think about. It's not a terrible idea for Sebadam to score a goal. Is this going on YouTube? Yeah, this will go on YouTube. Kaio leaving the ball here. Should definitely have popped that ball before running into the corner. Sebadam has just blasted another goal in. Relentless stuff from Sebadam. He never looked back after going 7-3 up. That one miss from Kaio when he was down by 3 goals. Kind of sealed this game in Sebadam's favor. And now Sebadam with the bang from behind, and he's got pretty decent ball control, and he's gonna get another goal. 11-3. You know, I've changed my mind. He's actually scored so many goals at the end of this game as Sebadam that this has like become a crushing defeat for Kaio. What started off as a relatively close game after the comeback from 5-3 to, or 5-0 to 5-3, has turned into an absolute raffle stomp for Sebadam. Very impressive stuff. My goodness, I was trying to change the score there and it wasn't working, but I got it done eventually. So Kaio drops game 1 in the best of 5. By the way, it's Quanch. I didn't forget you. Thanks for the sub. I appreciate it, man. If you're still here, thank you very much for the support. Kaio regretting coming back on stream? Nah, I'm sure he's not. Oh, Sebadam's joined before Kaio got in the lobby. PS4 players take longer to connect. Is he going to make it in time? I certainly hope so. There he is. So PS4 players do take longer to connect, but the game doesn't start till they have actually connected, so we're all good. CAIOTG1, he's going to need to step up his pace. He did definitely get beaten to the ball a fair amount by Sebadam in the last game. Sebadam, of course, currently a top 10 player in 1, so he is not to be messed with. And look at that upper 90 finish by Kaio, using every ounce of boost to maximum effectiveness right there. No saving that shot. He just rips it bar down right after the face-off. 1-0. A much better start to game 2 for the Brazilian. And now he's going to go for the fake kickoff. Sebadam has taken a pretty good shot, but Kaio comes out with boost and the ball, so a really good outcome for him. But he's missed on his power shot. I really do feel like Kaio is making life difficult for himself by going for such linear bounce dribbles. He tends to start off all of his bounce dribbles going straight at the opposition net. And if he just changed up the angle a little bit, I feel like he would give himself a much easier time. He's looking for bumps here. Sebadam, he's come out with the ball again. Seems like the fight nights seem to be favoring Kaio in all the matchups we've seen from him. He just comes out from all these little awkward situations very, very well, bumping his opponent away from the ball. I also want to note that he did go up and across his net. We saw earlier Kaio got dunked on by Turbo in the series we watched before this. Oh, can he actually save it? Yes, he can. But Sebadam's come out with boost, so this is fine for him. And he should get a goal off a really solid 50-50. Well played by Seb. Just never gave Kaio a chance to clear this ball. And Sebadam's really, really good at 50-50s. It's scary. He's so, so good at just forcing good challenges. Even in the opposition half, even in the opposition corner, where there are less favorable angles for the ball to be heading towards, he does like to go for it. Yeah, I don't know if I finished my train of thought properly on the up and across, but Kaio, of course, in the game against Turbopulsa, he did try to take the ball on the ground past his own net a few times, and he got dunked on. And we just saw in this game that he goes up across his own back wall rather than across the net, leaving it a wide open shot for Sebadam. So that's a good adaptation by him. And a Sebadam with the linear bounce dribble. Need to try and get Kaio to back off, but that really isn't a very threatening pop at all. Sebadam's been looking for demos, but he's missed out on a few. But the speed is just there for Sebadam. So quick on the turn and up into the air immediately. Just grabs the boost, power slides, and back into play so fast. That was Greasy-esque speed. Hey, Adrepok, thanks for the sub. I appreciate you, buddy. Chat is just spamming right now, so there's no way I could have seen that in chat. Thank goodness for Twitch alerts. But yeah, welcome, dude. Much appreciated. Sebadam in a bit of an awkward position here. He doesn't want to be wasting his boost. It's very easy to use like 50-60 boost there for almost no change in position. And Kaio thought about going for a dunk. This is the most awkward situation. Sebadam comes out with boost and the ball, so he's going to be pretty happy, but that was not comfortable for the Englishman. Now he's on the linear bounce dribble. It's very hard, of course, to get any threatening shots from that position, like I've been highlighting this series and the last one. Definitely want to see an angled approach. Oh, Sebadam's beamed it. Kaio, at no loss to himself, is just sticking around here just to make sure that Sebadam is forced into a save. And oh no, Sebadam, what was that? You just side flipped and boosted way past the ball. Not a great play, and the fake kickoff is back. These guys have both thrown in fake kickoffs in the diagonal spot, but Sebadam's actually missed the boost and the ball. What is happening? Sebadam is definitely tilted by something. He should have had the boost and the ball here, and he got neither. He just missed the boost blind. Do I think I could beat Scrub if he had to use keyboard and mouse and I had Rumble? I could beat Scrub if you don't. I wouldn't even need Rumble. Like, I could just beat him if he had keyboard and mouse. Simple. Scrub's keyboard and mouse game is horrendous. I've seen him. Alright, so here we go, guys. Open net miss by Kaio, but Sebadam thought it was going in, so he actually faded away from the play. And then Kaio got the second attempt. 5-2. Can Kaio hang on to this game? Sebadam, of course, put 11 goals past him in game 1, so Kaio's got to be so careful. He doesn't want to give Sebadam any momentum. But this is great. As long as he can keep the ball moving around the midfield. Doesn't want to give Sebadam space to set up a play. At the same time, he doesn't want to give Sebadam any free possessions. Sebadam's still going to slow play this. He knows he has plenty of time left. This is a 1v1. Turnovers or possession are more expected, but that Octane wobble completely throws off Sebadam. It looked like he was not in control of that play regardless, as he went for the fake jump into a ground shot. Difficult skill to execute, and Sebadam, even a player of his caliber, failing to execute on that occasion. But time is ticking away. This is such good news for Caio. And Sebadam is going to shoot way wide. Might be starting to panic, is Sebadam. He might be starting to panic here. Because when players are down towards the end of the game, they tend to shoot more. And Caio's fashioned another goal here. He manages to set it up with a very, very effective challenge. Look at that. He just dinks it perfectly off the wall to himself. Little 1-2 with the sidewall. 6-2. This is a very strange series to see a really one-sided game. Sebadam destroying Caio in game 1. But Caio has just bounced back with great effectiveness. Just not tilting at all. And then meanwhile, Sebadam is just looking like a completely different player and not for the better. I don't know what has happened to him. And here we go. Caio on the air dribble off the wall. The first touch is a good one. The second touch is a little bit too heavy though. But Caio's mixed it up pretty well. He has mixed up his offense pretty effectively. He's just pressured Sebadam into submission. Forced Sebadam to make mistakes on occasion, like backboard rebounds, stuff like that. And Sebadam gonna go try and beam Caio out of the air right there, but it's not gonna work. And Caio should have another goal. He's missed it, but he got the rebound. Second time of asking. 7-2. We're one away from the I would 8 to be used score. Sebadam's got to be thinking about the next game now, because this game looks like it's long gone. Extremely impressive for Caio to come back after losing game 1 so heavily, and not only, you know, be involved in game 2, but actually win it comfortably, assuming that he doesn't lose 5 goals in 20 seconds. Oh, he's lost 1 goal. Just leave Sebadam for a split second and he will score. Caio getting baited by the boost here. He definitely did not need that boost. Good job by Sebadam, just catching the ball with the front corner of the car like we talked about earlier. Getting the power with the front corner. There is still danger for Caio. It is possible for Sebadam to score 3 goals. Air roll shot is a good one. Look at that from Sebadam. Absolutely booms it in the corner. Caio doing his trademark 3-point turn to collect boost. Look at that from Sebadam. Caio fully expecting a half volley there. Sebadam just rips it before it's even hit the ground. 11 seconds, 3 goals. It is still extremely unlikely, but with Sebadam's kickoff being so scary, it was possible. This has now become a Caio victory for sure. Sebadam might try and keep this up, but this is game 2 going to Caio. We will see at least another 2 games this series. There it is, GG. Caio versus Sebadam. After game 1, I was a bit worried. I was like, oh no, after such a good showing against Turbo Pulse, Caio's going to come on and get out absolutely pasted by Seb. But no, he's actually stuck in it, and he's doing really well. And Sebadam again is joined before the PS4 players in the lobby, switching it up to Orange Team this time, which doesn't match his fancy new avatar. Sebadam's got the S in his avatar, which we all learned how to draw when we were at school. We're like, oh man, look how cool this S is. I do such a big blocky S. I love it. Good touch by Caio. That touch is really important because he didn't want to give Sebadam the ball for free. But also he needed to give himself time to go into the corner, get the boost, and then come back to collect the ball. Sebadam is not looking in control all of a sudden. I really don't know what this was supposed to be by Sebadam. Did he try to pinch it into the middle? He might have tried to trap that ball, just catch it between his wheels and the wall, just to send it into the center. But he just beamed it completely, and now he's trying to keep this ball high, but Caio gets a great save. Of course, if you do have 160 ping, you got to be pre-jumping more often than somebody who's got low ping. This should be a goal. Sebadam's going to get enough power on that ball from that distance. Caio getting punished for hitting the crossbar. I do want to credit Sebadam's aerial at the other end. Look at that aerial shot. Delicious by Sebadam. But I want to credit Sebadam's aerial at the other end. He realized that he had jumped too high with the initial fast aerial technique. So what did he do? He decided to fly back down again, just to guarantee that he could get the ball to stay on a high arc, because he wanted to fly back down, hit the bottom of the ball with the front of his car. I'm actually really curious right there. Sebadam making an interesting decision. He stole CAIO's boost in the back corner, and then despite the fact that CAIO only had about 20 boosts to his name, Sebadam half flipped away from the ball. That meant that he had to turn again to get back into the play and make a challenge. But if he had just stayed facing the ball, he would not have had to turn twice. So very curious to see Sebadam half flipping and then turning again and getting outplayed. He pretty much gave CAIO an opportunity to flick it over to him as he was turning to challenge, and CAIO did that very effectively. CAIO proving to be an extremely dangerous ones player, just making it so awkward for Sebadam, putting the ball in really dangerous positions. And again, Sebadam is not able to get a good clear. There's the mind game. Sebadam is all over the place. Oh my goodness, CAIOTG1 pulls a pretty great one at Sebadam right here. Oh, get done, Sebadam. He's beamed it, guys. But CAIO has beamed Sebadam with that mind game. Just shows you don't need to score with the first shot. CAIO put about 4 shots in Sebadam's net in that play, and eventually it ended up with a tap-in. And now he's up by 3 goals. What is going on? Sebadam took game 1 11-3, and now CAIO can't miss. Everything he does turns into a boomer. This is just perfect play by CAIO on the setup and the finish as well. Absolutely blasts it, and CAIOTG1 showing up yet again. He's already beaten a top 30 player from EU. Now he's against a top 10 player from EU. And Sebadam, a player who has given even Cuxer trouble in the past. Recently beating Cuxer in a best of 5 on his own stream. CAIO did miss a boost barely. Sebadam might not have seen that though. CAIO was kind of pretending that he had boost by driving up to the ball there. And again, CAIO fast enough to the ball, and he's got a great 50-50. Aerial shot fires wide. Sebadam was there. CAIO doesn't need more goals though. He needs to be a little bit careful. He seems to have panicked a little bit. He needs to calm down. And it looks like he did collect the boost, and he's going to go up and across again. Much more safe than he was in the game against Turbo. I've got to wonder, is CAIO learning from these games on the go? Because most of his games that he will play, of course, will be against North American ones players who tend to play a very different style to the European players. But it looks like he's adapted to Sebadam's playstyle, and now he's just taking him apart completely. Just waiting for Sebadam to move out of the way. Why are you so artistic, says Sebadam to himself. That's a good question. As he's down by 4 goals, half the game gone, he's got to be wondering what has happened. And an aerial shot, this one barely off as well. CAIO getting some pretty good aerial shots here.
Still Havon.
Is he actually got another goal? Yes, he has. Sebadam doesn't know what to do. CAIO has got no boost here hardly. He's just driving around the edge of the box, picking up little boost pads. Sebadam goes to the corner boost. It's not even there. CAIO just scores in the open net. 6-1. Are we actually going to see a Brazil from the Brazilian? Sebadam doesn't know the answer to his own question. Sebadam is definitely troubled, guys. He is definitely troubled. There's no way that he expected to be losing this matchup. And definitely not by this margin. He still has the time remaining to make the comeback happen. But does he believe in himself right now? I know one man who does certainly believe in himself is CAIOTG1. We're looking at him as he continues to impress. Has he given Sebadam the open net? Yes, he has. Sebadam misses the power shot. He just dodged right across the front of the ball there. CAIO misses on his clear as well. Sebadam with another opportunity. The power's just not there. Can he get the goal? Yes, he can. CAIO panicked a little bit. Kind of own goal. But Sebadam, look here. He misses on his power shot again. He just air rolled forward. A little bit too much. Like right as he was dodging into the ball, he air rolled underneath it, hit it with the roof of the car. It was still enough though, and he's going to be so glad that he did not get Braziled by the Brazilian, because that would have been too much of a meme for him to deal with. I don't know how he would have come back from that one. CAIO's still very much in control of the matchup. taking game 2 comfortably and leading game 3 as well. But there we go, Sebadam back with another goal. CAIO was doing the bump strategy again. He does like to go for the bump, but Sebadam just recovered really, really quickly from that one. Did not get phased at all by the bump attempt. Now CAIO's got to be careful. He was in control for the vast majority of this game, but he does not want to let that slip by giving Sebadam any footing in the game. Just over a minute left. Why is my nose so itchy? Nose, please. And Sebadam is starting to shoot a little bit more cleanly now. CAIO with a decent save. Sebadam boost stealing. And CAIO's flick's definitely something he can work on. If we compare his flicks to that of Fairy Peak, definitely a bit of a change there. Rip stream, really? That must be Twitch's end. Just refresh, boys. Just refresh. Somebody tell refresh in the chat, because it seems like my stream is fine on my end. Hope it's fine for most of you guys. But the game is starting to look more and more like CAIO's every second that passes by. Sebadam needed to be a lot more efficient with his possession, transferring his possession to the goals. Oh, no way! He's actually mind-game CAIO! He's done the same thing as CAIO did to him. And this is a really embarrassing one for CAIO. Sebadam gets him to pre-jump with hardly a feint of movement. No, hardly the faintest movement. That was pretty embarrassing for CAIO. Going for a pre-jump save. Of course, like I said, he does have 150, 160 odd ping sometimes. So he's got to be a little bit more predictive with his play, but that was a position where Sebadam definitely wasn't going to get that much of a play. Oh, look at the aggression by CAIO. He's just going to come and have a make-out session with Sebadam at the end of the game. He knows that it's over. And he's up 2-1 against Sebadam. Who would have thought it? CAIO making Brazilian players and PS4 players proud all across the world. What is a Brazil? Brazil is a 7-1 score. A shout or a hark back to the audio's off sync again. Oh no. Oh no, hold on. Let me really quickly watch my stream. Let me see if I can fix it before CAIO gets back in here. A shout or a hark back to the audio's off sync again. Oh no. Oh no, hold on.
no.
Let me really quickly watch my stream. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, unfortunately. I'm just gonna leave it. Just gonna leave it. Maybe I'll watch the first. I'm just gonna leave it. It's fine. It's fine. I fixed it earlier. I was happy with what I did. I was happy with my work. I'm just gonna leave it. Gonna trust that it is not unwatchable. As I'm sure most of you guys are gonna stick around to see if CAIO can get this victory. Very, very impressive victory if he can pull this off. He's managed to get a decent shot on net. Barely off target. Oh, it might have squeezed in actually. I think post and then across the net was the outcome. Sebadam did not want to let that happen regardless. He doesn't want to let the ball trickle across his own goal line. Linear dribble again by CAIO. I've criticized this in the past and I will again, but he's actually managed to capitalize with Sebadam greeting for boost. Sebadam did this last game and he's done it again. Why does he have severe artism? Sebadam wants to become an artist. He just needs to be a little bit more careful. He doesn't want to give CAIO so much space on the ball because CAIO does not back down. He stays on the ball. He's shown that he loves to pressure, and he's ripped a bottom right corner shot on the face-off 2-0. Sebadam is rattled. There is no doubt about it. Sebadam is rattled. Unwatchable. But CAIO, what a play to turn this series around. Loses 11-3, and then he's won 2 games in a row. Sebadam memeing at himself right now. He's not impressed at his performance. But one player who will be impressed at his performance is CAIO. He can't miss, ladies and gentlemen. He actually can't miss. He just like casually dribbling Sebadam. Does a little catch from the aerial and then recovers. It's a side flip. Simple stuff. Okay, now this is surely Sebadam's goal. There we go. He took his time with it. Did not want to miss that. Because he doinks it in from point blank range. The point blank doink. The classic. Sebadam, he's not out of the series yet. He is definitely still in with a chance to win this series. And he's done a couple of wiggles there to get CAIO to back off. Top left corner is the choice and the boost steal. Of course, Anything on target there, you'd expect CAIO to save because Sebadam is shooting from such long range. Sebadam just needs to find his mojo again. Game 1, he was just jamming it, running around the field. You know, power sliding with style, just beating CAIO to the ball. But then after Game 2 kind of fell to pieces, Sebadam started doubting himself. And now CAIO's reactive defending works for him twice in a row. He's able to save a long shot and a flick from the Englishman, who's nipped in and stolen boost. This is better for Sebadam. At least he's getting consecutive possessions now. He just needs to transition into dangerous shots on net. There we go. He's managed to force a pretty bad save attempt by CAIO, but CAIO snuck into the corner and he's grabbed the boost and he's back in the play. Sebadam's going to stick to shots, and CAIO uses quite a lot of boost to get up for that one. Sebadam's going to get another shot, and this one will work. Really, really good consistent pressure by Sebadam. He's looking a lot more in control all of a sudden. You see there the effectiveness of shooting high deliberately. Sebadam knows that that shot is not going in, but CAIO has a much harder job figuring out whether that shot is on target, and he just had to go up just in case. Accidentally beans the save, and Sebadam with a good recovery shot. Thought about wave dashing there, did Sebadam. This time he will use the wall to defend, but he's missed it as well! We saw him miss an aerial from that position, and now he's missed the wall clear. Just a little bit too casual with it. Sebadam is down by 2 goals again. His route to the ball was not an efficient one. He could have gone more direct, but he kind of took the 2 sides of the triangle instead of the hypotenuse. And now he's down by 2 again. This is match point for CAIO. This is match point for the Brazilian.
Jonah, I subbed, but you didn't notice me.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Thanks for letting me know though. You could have said that in the chat. You didn't need to donate to let me know that I missed a sub, but I appreciate the donation regardless, dude. Thanks so much for the 3. But yeah, Flurry Flax for the 3 months. Congrats on the badge upgrade. Appreciate the resub. And yeah, a clamping lamp. A clamping lamp. I like that name. Much appreciated, dude. Thank you so much for the sub. Support, it does mean a lot to me. Sebadam back within 1. Good 50-50 in the midfield. We saw him get so many goals from this in Game 1, and he's got another one in Game 4. 50-50s proved to be so useful for Sebadam in Game 1. He just needs to go back to that play style. Try to get the game more in his on his terms, not on CAIO's terms. What is Sebadam saying? I can believe that I can't. What is Sebadam talking about? Memeing so hard in the chat right now. It seems like he's saying that he's transferred his artism to CAIO by demoing him. And it's working. Like, whatever Sebadam did seems to have worked, because CAIO has given him a couple of open net shots here. I mean a lot to you. Oh, clamping lamp, I appreciate it. Or, that's a really nice thing to say. I appreciate the kind words. Where's CAIO from? He's from Brazil. Oh my word, what a shot by Sebadam. This is basically this is the weirdest series ever. Oh, what a shot by Seb. How did he get the speed on that? The ball was almost rolling up the wall and he just ripped it right across the neck. There's no way CAIO expected a shot of that speed to be going to his goal anytime soon. That's a great first touch by Seb. Just putting some pressure on, making CAIO doubt, but that's a very questionable challenge. Sebadam is going to be out the game for about a month after that challenge. Gives CAIO ages to get the free goal. I like that he looked back just to make sure that Sebadam had beamed himself as bad as it looked like he'd beamed himself. And he had. Sebadam. I may have conceded, yet my mind has not conceded me. I will fight to win. Is he like quoting something? Or is he actually just writing a book as we watch him play? Cheeky little doink there by Sebadam. And he's got another boost steal. This is looking like the Sebadam of Game 1. Zooming around the field, just having his way with this match. Beating CAIO to the ball again. We're back to Game 1 Sebadam. Game 4 is very much looking like Sebadam's game now. He did have to work for it though. CAIO was winning, I believe, 4-1. Adripog, first time tuning in live and watching YouTube for months. Glad to be here. Hey, it's glad to have you here. Or I'm glad to have you here, dude. Oh dear, CAIO air rolling a little bit too far away from the ball there for front flipping. So his dodge pretty much belly flopped it. Now Sebadam continues to just dribble the ball around the field and not let Kaio get a touch. But Kaio's still only 2 goals away from winning this series, or tying up the series, and then of course overtime. Anything can happen in overtime. And this is a great opportunity. Kaio just needs to try and predict how many touches Sebadam's gonna get. He didn't see the floor pinch coming though. Should have challenged. He's gonna regret that. Sebadam faked a second touch here. Instead, he was just going for the floor pinch the whole time. Look at that play. Sebadam saying no way, but beautiful play by Sebadam. That was a sick floor pinch. Kaio was thinking, should I challenge or should I wait for him to make one more touch? And he decided to wait for Sebadam's next touch, which never happened. Sebadam just took the shot. 8-5. This looks like we're going to have a tie series, but Kaio might have something more to say about it before we're done here. He's running out of time though. 41 seconds. 3 goals the difference. Beaned, yeah. Just as a chat saying beaned. Kaio has indeed beaned it again. And this goal doesn't look like much, but I want to highlight something real quick. What does Sebadam do here? He makes sure to hit the ball with the front corner of his car. Everybody asking me, how do you rank up? Well, you learn how to hit the ball hard. Sebadam just, it was an open net. It was a goal that he had tons of time to roll in, but what does he do? He blasts it anyway. He just makes sure to dodge into the ball with the front corner of the car. I can't stress the importance of being able to take shots with the front corner. Not like that. That was not a good shot. That was rubbish. But the one before that was good. It was a boomer. It's about as much of a boomer as you could have got from that exact position. Well, let me just go and change the score real quick before I forget. Sebadam ties up the best of 5. Still a very impressive showing by Kaio to rattle Sebadam so much in game 2 and 3 and take him down in comfortable fashion. But we've seen 4 pretty one-sided games now. 2 going to Kaio in the middle, and the first and the 4th games going to Seb. Who's going to take game 5, the last game of the series? Sebadam with a cheeky little Jazer spin into the takeoff. Hey, Chazher, thanks for the sub. I appreciate the 3 months, dude.
You're a great streamer. Mwah mwah mwah. That is all for you today.
Just 3 mods. I'll take it. That's a good amount of mods. Thanks for the resub though. Enjoy the sexy red badge that you get to showcase now. Looking very good. Game 5. Sebadam back on orange side here with the biomass. I like the biomass on orange team, but I don't like it so much on blue team. That's just me though. I wonder why he's going for the purple boost trail. Curious choice. Oh my goodness, what is going on? Sebadam just bullies Kaio into the post. And the little trip that Kaio took nearly cost him a possession, but he did get back into it pretty quickly. He has to be so careful. Demos are dangerous from here. Sebadam looking for it, but this could be a counter-attack. Kaio rips it end to end, but he's hit the post. Rebound is coming in though. There it is. Sebadam did not have a good read on which angle the ball was going to rebound. Kaio should have scored with that hit, of course, but somehow the ball's like bounced up and into the center. It's like it hit that exact curve of the post. This series is a beanstalk. Is it actually? I don't think it's too bad. I mean, a lot of the games in this series have just been one-sided because one player is playing really well. It's not just because somebody's throwing. But this is definitely not the best piece of defending by Sebadam, as he just shags the post and then falls off it and then falls off it again. He's just like tripping on the near post. He believes Artisan is now back to him. How do you sub to me? You need to like look for the subscribe button above the stream if you're on your computer. Good save by Kaio. Sebadam would definitely have expected that to go in most of the time. Oh, Kaio's made the same mistake as he did before. That's the second time that he's leaned way too far back before front dodging into the wall shot. He's leaning back because he knows that his car has to close some distance before he's going to hit the ball. But he leaned back too far, so by the time his car reached the ball, it actually went completely over the top of it. Both players have artism, says Sebadam. Oh, there's a sub command. Thank you, Vilts. I didn't even know that that command existed. I didn't even know that I had a sub-command. There you go. You can subscribe to get the cheeky emotes using that command. So we're actually seeing a pretty low scoring game here compared to the others that we saw. Sebadam transitions from the bounce dribble into the ball carry. That is another reason why bounce dribbling, I believe, is superior to ball carrying in most situations. Because you can transition from a bounce dribble to a ball carry pretty easily. Any top player can just catch the ball without thinking about it too much. But transitioning from a ball carry into a bounce dribble is a little bit harder. You actually have to let the ball fall off you and then, you know, catch it again, or, you know, come across it the other way. So, like, if he wants to transition from that ball carry into a bounce dribble, he has to let the ball fall off him, then, you know, power slide round it to get it bouncing again. Why do you guys want a link? What are you talking about? That's what is a sellout? A sellout, you're looking at one. I'm a sellout. I love to sell out because I like money. Good challenge here by Kaio. He just read Sebadam's cheeky little fake. Sebadam was trying to get Kaio to jump or to back off by faking a play with his fake jump. Kaio's not having any of it, just closes the distance. There you go, Sebadam getting the ball into the top of his car by hooking into the side of it. Misses on his flick again though. He's definitely not had the cleanest flicks this series. And he's passed the ball to Kaio. This should be a goal and it will be. Sebadam, what are you doing? As he just centers the ball to his opponent in a 1v1. Kaio is literally in the goal, waiting for the ball to come across the middle, and Sebadam just passes it to him. That is misplay of the series right there, and there's been a few misplays. Sebadam, what are you doing? He's still got a chance to come back here. He can do this, but he needs to stop the misplays. He needs to transition this possession into a shot and goal, and at least get some pressure. There we go, finally. Oh my goodness, that nearly stayed out. Kaio with a great save attempt. I think we'll get a better look at what Kaio did here from Sebadam's perspective, because Kaio was in the net. Man, he nearly got a double touch on that. If that ball had come down off the crossbar and hit Kaio's car again, it would have actually stayed out of the net. I would still expect Sebadam to get a goal out of the exchange, because Kaio's not in a good position and used all his boost. Look out for the dunk. Kaio does get the ball to the right past Sebadam, who was following that. Now Sebadam's left the net wide open. Here comes the rebound attempt for Kaio. He's looking good. Oh no, he goes too high. Now Sebadam is going to capitalize. 2-goal miss for Kaio. And the backflip shot for style points for Seb. This really looked like Kaio had the read on that rebound, but he just went a little bit too high. It's one of the reasons why flying backwards is better for those rebounds. Of course, if you're flying forwards, you pretty much only want to hit the ball with the front end of your car. But if you're flying backwards, you can hit it with the roof or the front end. So Kaio maybe could have gone for that play instead. Another ball carry for Sebadam. And the delayed flick takes the ball wide of the net, but somehow Kaio's missed on his challenge completely. Kaio actually missed the challenge before Sebadam even did anything with this ball. Oh, he just overturned. Kaio holding onto the boost and the power slide, turned pretty much on the spot. And now we've actually got a tie game from a game which was very one-sided in Kaio's favor. Now Sebadam might just have taken the lead with a great 50-50. Yes, he will. Completely turned the game around. That 2-goal miss by Kaio. Just imagine, the game could be so different. He could have been up 5-2. Instead, he's losing 5-4 now. This could have been such a different game if he had just hit that rebound. It wasn't a terrible idea to go for the pop to himself off the backboard, because, I mean, if he hits it, he's scoring. There's no way Sebadam's saving that. Absolutely no way. Sebadam is boost starved. There's just no chance he could save that. And I expected Kaio to get it, but he barely missed it. Of course, 2-goal misses. The worst kind of misses. Oh. And then there's an own goal. What? At least Sebadam got the butt slide after this. What on earth happened here? Oh dear, Sebadam. That is not a good own goal. Yeah, there we go. Butt slide to make things a little bit less awful. That was the silver lining to the massive own goal cloud. He just boomed it right in his own net. Kaio's got to be careful for the shot here. He doesn't go for the corner boost because he knows the shot would be threatening. He's trying to like pop the ball here to give himself time to go for the corner boost, but he shouldn't be going. He didn't pop it high enough. And the corner boost is so far away for Kaio. He thought he popped it high enough. Oh, he thought about going back to net, but then he hesitated, went to the boost anyway. He would have been right if he had just gone straight back to the net. That would have been the play. Correct play, rather. We heard of Blaze. He played really well against Get Up. I have not heard of Blaze, no. I have not. Ryabid, what are you talking about? Why are you asking for a link? I don't know what you mean. No one knows what you're talking about, my friend. You're trying to send me a link? I'm so confused. I was looking at the chat, but I didn't. I thought Sebadam had this save off the wall. Why did this? My goodness, that's a really, really high flick from